With all Office 365 subscriptions, you get 1 terabyte of OneDrive space included. In order to meet corporate security policies, many organizations are using OneDrive to store corporate documents rather than allow users to save their files to their local hard drives. To enforce the use of OneDrive Business Cloud Storage, you can use a feature that forces the redirection of known folders to OneDrive for Business. Let's see how we can troubleshoot any issues that you may encounter. First, we need to understand the concept of known folders. The folders within your Windows 10 profile are classed as known folders, and these include the desktop, documents, pictures, screenshots, and camera roll folders. Known folders can also include user-defined folders. Therefore, if you have folders that are used by local apps, and these can also be included as part of the redirection process. The first problem that you may encounter is that the prerequisites may not have been met. If you cannot implement the known folder move to OneDrive feature, then check for the following: that your OneDrive sync build is as shown on screen or later, that devices run Windows 10 version 1709 or later, and have been Azure Active Directory joined or hybrid joined, that you don't have any existing group policy object settings for Windows folder redirection, and that there are no Outlook or OneNote files stored in your folders, as these are not allowed to be moved. However, you can create them in OneDrive afterwards. You'll also need to ensure that you have a OneDrive for Business license. This could be either a standalone OneDrive for Business license, or a license that's bundled with SharePoint Online, an Office 365 subscription, or a Microsoft 365 subscription. Once enabled, users will see a notification explaining the changes and asking them to start protection of their folders. If the prompt is dismissed, a reminder will appear in the Activity Center until the move is completed. However, if you just want to silently enforce this feature and you don't want users to have a choice, then you can use the Silent Move option, which redirects files to OneDrive for Business without any user interaction. You should also consider blocking users from storing data on the hard drive of their local devices. This stops users from overriding the known folder move to OneDrive for Business settings. Once you enable this feature, then users are prevented from redirecting their known folders back to their PC. If you're using a hybrid environment, then you should check out the 3-group policy object settings for the known folder move to OneDrive feature, as shown in the table. And even if you don't use group policy and you're all in the cloud, you can still use these GPOs within Intune. To manage known folder move settings using Microsoft Intune, you'll need to deploy configuration profiles, which access the GPOs within administrative templates. These allow you to configure group policy settings and then assign these to your devices. Let's drop onto our cloud demo environment and review the settings for configuring Windows known folders to OneDrive. The first thing we need to do is get our Tenant ID, which is a global unique identifier, and we'll need this to configure on the group policy objects for OneDrive. In my Microsoft 365 Admin Center, I'll click Show All, and then launch Azure Active Directory. I'll select Azure Active Directory on the left-hand side, and then under Manage, I'll select Properties. And here we can see my directory ID. I'll click Up. And next I'll launch Intune. I'll select Endpoint Management. And then select Devices. And under Policy, I'll select Configuration Profiles. I'll then click Create Profile. And I'll name the profile Enable OneDrive, Known Folder Move with User Consent. And then, in the platform, I'll select Windows 10 and later. And the profile type needs to be Administrative Templates, as this will allow us to use group policy objects within Intune. I'll then click Create. Under the category type, I'll select All Products and use the search to filter for the GPO name. And here we can see the correct GPO. I'll select it. Confirm the description. and then click Enabled, and this is where we need to paste our tenant ID. And click OK. We can see the group policy has been enabled. And as soon as the user is automatically signed into OneDrive, they'll receive a notification to protect their common Windows folders. If we want to prevent users from redirecting their Windows known folders back to their local hard drive, then we can create another configuration profile and use another administrative template. I'll name this one Prevent Uses from Redirecting Their Windows Known Folders Back. Provided description. And then select the Windows 10 and later as the platform, and choose Administrative Templates from the profile type, and then click Create. Under Category Type, I'll select All Products, and then filter for the GPO, which starts to prevent users from redirecting. And here we can see we've filtered the GPO, which I'll select. I'll enable this policy and click OK. I'll then need to click Assignments and assign the policy. I'll assign it to all users and all devices, and click Save. Once assigned, if a user then accesses the OneDrive Sync client settings, the option to stop folder protection will not be shown, and a hint will show that the setting is controlled by the organization. On the summary page here, we can see that both our policies have been assigned.